morning to those of you who are watching and tuning in today from the West. Good evening to those who are tuning in from the East. And the reason I say that is because my role here is a senior global officer. So my name is Ruth Walton, and I've been in touch with some of you, and not all of you. I don't recognize all the names, but I've been in touch with some of you over the past few weeks, helping you with your application, helping you answer questions that you might have. I am your point of contact at the University of Portsmouth. So my role, as I say, is a senior global officer, and I manage the regions of the Americas, of Central Asia, and Africa. So I'm kind of busy. So pretty big regions, but it's a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure to be meeting you. And this is an applicant's briefing. So this is for students like you who have made an application to the university. Some of you are well ahead. Some of you are well ahead already with the application process. And you already may have your CAS offers, but there's still a few things that you can learn about with regards to your student visas. Later on as well, later on in the summer, so in the next few weeks, towards the end of August, I will do an applicant's pre-departure briefing. So things that you need to know before you start, as long as you paid your deposit or your sponsor has paid their deposit, you will be invited to that webinar, and that is about things like top tips about what to bring, what not to bring, and things that you need to know in preparation for arriving into the UK. So the invitation for this webinar was to encourage you to listen to hear from me, but also hear from a current student. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to arrange that. The student wasn't available. The one student that was from your regions, that is a student ambassador for us, she was unavailable. So, and then I ran out of time to organize somebody else. But it's not a problem. You've got me and my experience. And in the next session towards the end of August, like I say, I'll make sure I get a student on board for you then, so you can ask them some questions as well. So can I just do a check? Could somebody kindly come off their microphone and just tell me if you can see my presentation? Can you see that on your screen? Could someone be brave enough just to come on and say yes or no? Anybody? Can you see my presentation? Someone's raising their hand. So yes, I'll take that as a yes rather than coming off microphone. Okay, great. Thank you. I will reshare my screen and then we can make a start. Okay, great. Good stuff. Okay, fantastic. So welcome, as I say, you are students that have made an application. So I hope that you find some information today useful. What I'm going to ask is, if you have any questions, if you could please write them in the Q&A section, or the, and as somebody has, the chat is disabled. Okay, thank you, Liz. Thank you for letting me know. But you've messaged me there, so thank you very much. So yes, as Liz has done, if you have any questions or comments, or you want further clarification or anything I'm about to say, then please do put your questions in the Q&A sort of section, and then I will address those at the very end. So Portsmouth. So, I mean, you've applied to the university, so hopefully you know where the university is, but just in case if you haven't realised, we are a university on the south coast of England. So when you're looking up at the map of the UK, Portsmouth is in on the very bottom of the south coast in the centre, and that is approximately 70 miles from London. So in terms of when you land to the UK, when you land into London Heathrow or London Gatwick Airport, we are approximately 70 miles away, which on a train, that can take you maybe 1 hour and a half, so 90 minutes, or maybe 2 hours. But so accessible, easy to find, easy to get to us. Now, as you can see on the picture in the background, we are very close to the ocean, very close to the sea, which is a beautiful location. Even when it's a bit cold or a bit grey or it's raining, you're still on the south coast, so it's still a great place to be living as a student and experiencing that south coast. And at this time of year, you can see me today in this, I've not got a hat on, a scarf, a jumper. You know, it's a warm day here in the UK because it's summer, so you know, we do get some really great weather here in the UK. But as you can see, as well as the south coast, you can see that our location is in the city centre of Portsmouth. So you might be familiar with some campus universities that have a campus like a couple of miles outside of the city centre. But the University of Portsmouth isn't like that. Everything is very, very close by. So where you're going to be living in your halls of residence, your student accommodation, where you're going to be living is very, very close to where you're going to be studying. So walking distance to your lectures, to your classes, to meet with an academic, to meet your friends, everything is very, very close. And you're also close to the train station. You're also close to the supermarkets, to the social activities, to the cinemas, the restaurants, the cafes. Portsmouth is full of quirky, unique, individual cafes. That's in an area called Southsea. And of course, you're close to the nightlife. So for those of you that want to go out dancing, maybe enjoying a beer or a cocktail, there's lots of opportunities in Portsmouth to enjoy student life like that as well. I think it's very important to have a good work-life balance. Study and social needs to be pretty even, I think, because it keeps you well. So our location, like I say, you're very close to the train station, so good transport links to other cities in the UK and of course to the rest of Europe as well. Okay, this slide I really like to talk about. I like to talk about everything actually, but this slide in particular because I like to show off. I'm very proud of the university I work for, and I couldn't speak to people like yourselves to promote the university if I didn't believe in the university. So you can see here our statistics, our achievements, and we are always looking to be better, to improve. So where we are as a university at the moment, 6 key things that you need to know. We have achieved gold status. So for Teaching Excellence Framework, the TEF, this is an award we have won for our gold standard of teaching. So the Olympic Games starts next week. So if you think of gold being the top medal, we have got the top score for our teaching excellence. So this is an award that lasts, we won it last year, but it lasts for 3 years to have that status. So coming to the University of Portsmouth, you're in good hands and you're going to be taught really by the best. And according to QS, they had given us a 5-star rating as a top university. As well as Teaching Excellence Framework, we also have the Research Excellence Framework, and we are in the top 21. So coming to the end of that award, but we are in the top 3, from 2021 for Research Excellence as well. Moving on to the bottom row, we are a top 5 young university in the UK, according to the Times Higher Education World University Rankings. I'm going to skip to the far right, where it says we're a top 35 UK university, according to the Guardian League Table University Guide as well. So we're doing really well. We're striving as one of the top universities. There are over 200 universities in the UK. So to be the top 35 or the top 5 is pretty fantastic. But the middle one, this is the what I call the gold medal. 94% of our students who have graduated, who have completed their studies, 94% of our students are in work. They have found employment, or they've gone on to do further study. So maybe gone on to do a master's or a PhD qualification, and that's according to the Graduate Outcomes Survey. So we're doing pretty well, and you're coming through a really fantastic university. So this video here, I hope that you can hear it. I'm going to play it as the top 10 reasons to study in the UK, in Portsmouth. And of course, it's not going to play it. I will send that to you. Apologies, I will send that to you. Okay, so let's get down to business. Your application and your visa and what happens next. So for those of you that haven't done this already, you need to accept your offer in your applicant view. So this is your student platform. This is you have been given your username, your identification number, and you've been given your email address to access your applicant view. This is the main point of contact, how the university will communicate with you. So please keep checking your student view. Please look at the documents that you need to submit. You need to upload the required documents, and that could be, for example, a copy of your passport, a copy of your certifications. Anything that we are asking you for, please be proactive. Please, start working through these requirements, because as soon as you meet all of your conditions on your applicant view and your CAS shield, the quicker we can then award you your CAS. and that's when you can apply for your student visa. Now, I know some people have probably met all their conditions, and maybe they are waiting on a scholarship approval, or they're waiting just to receive their CAS from the university. So that you're in a really good position, a really strong position. But if you still have conditions outstanding, please do work hard to meet those, because like I say, the sooner you can get those done, the better it is for you and for us as a university, because we can process your application to the next stage. So you need to also, of course, one of your conditions will be to pay your deposit or provide your financial guarantee and then complete your CAS shield. So that is the different points. Again, you'll be given contact details about how to access your CAS shield, because your CAS stands for your Certificate of Acceptance to Study. So when you've met all the conditions on the applicant view, when you've met all your conditions on your CAS shield, which do overlap, they're often the same thing, we will then give you your CAS letter, and that's when we email you as well. So as well as communicating to you, as number one says, through your applicant view, we will always also communicate with you by email. And I know my colleagues and I all know that students like you don't read your emails. We know that, but please read your emails and also check your junk folder. So check your spam folder in case emails from the university have maybe just automatically gone into your spam folder. Because once you've responded to our communications, once you've met all your conditions, that's when we will email you your CAS letter, and that's when you can apply for your student route visa. Please don't apply for your student route visa. Please don't think to be proactive. Please don't think, oh, maybe I could just do this. I could just complete this. Please do not do anything with your student visa until you have your CAS letter in your email inbox. Because if you start the visa process, you might get rejected, and that will just delay the process, because we have to issue you, if you receive a visa rejection, we have to issue you a new CAS number. We have to issue you, send you a new CAS letter with a new CAS number. And that just delays the whole process, which could, of course, mean that you end up starting late for your degree, for your master's or your bachelor degree. So please wait for your CAS shield. Please work hard to complete those conditions. And this is what it looks like when you've registered and you have you've started to upload your documents and accept your offer. This is the kind of letter that you're going to get. So this is the kind of communication, and it tells you, and it gives you, you can see the blue text that they are live links. So click on that, simply log into your applicant view, click here for this, look at this section. So look for those links within the documentation and within the communications that we send you, because in your applicant view, you can track every process, every stage of your application to see where it's at. This is also what it looks like. So as you can see, we've kind of deleted the person's name on this example, but it gives you a good idea to know what you're looking at. This is kind of the applicant view, what we call a dashboard, all the key information. So at the top there, you can see in the blue and white button, it says My Application. That's when it gives you all the details of your application, what you've uploaded, the documents you've already uploaded. Maybe you forget, have I given a copy of my passport? Oh, I can go into my applicant view dashboard and just check. So everything is there. Then you can also look at My Finance. So that onto the right-hand side, you can click where it says My Finance at the top of this page. Click on My Finance and it gives you the details there as well. And looking through further, so it gives you a breakdown of further details, any conditions that are required, the faculty that your course falls into, the title, the exact title, the length, and all of these details. And at the bottom here, you can see the blue and red buttons, really, if you like, the rectangles that are there. So anything that's in red means you've got to do it. It means that you need to complete this section. So you can click on that red rectangle and see what you need to do. Anything in blue means that you've completed it. So well done. So the goal is to get all of these sections in blue, because it means that you've met all the requirements on this stage. So applying for your student visa, you need to be thinking of applying for your student visa. But like I said earlier, don't apply until you've got your CAS letter. So this next few slides are going to give you an introduction to the Tier 4 visa, because that is your student visa. The Tier 4 is the visa that you need to apply for. And I'm going to go through the documents that you need for that. So firstly, the introduction to Tier 4 visa. So this is what you need. So all overseas students who have applied for a course of 6 months or more, which is what you have applied for, I hope, and you must then apply for the Tier 4 visa. Even if for whatever reason you think you can study, you can enter the UK without a visa. To study, you still need to apply for the Tier 4 student visa. And this is a UKVI requirement. UKVI stands for UK Visa and Immigration. And they are responsible for issuing your Tier 4 visa. The UKVI is basically a government department which is part of the Home Office. All very technical and very serious, but it's very simple to apply for. It takes a bit of time and you need to put a lot of detail in, but it's quite straightforward. So further details on this. So the University of Portsmouth is your Tier 4 sponsor. And we are the ones, like I said earlier, that will issue your CAS, your confirmation of acceptance of studies. And the essential requirements, mandatory requirements for your CAS is that you must have an unconditional offer from the higher education institution, so from us as Portsmouth. You need to have given us the evidence of your English language level, evidence of your funds, which I will go into. I will give you some more details of that. And filling in your SRQ, which is your Student Route Eligibility Questionnaire, the SRQ. But again, we will email you about all of these things. These are all your conditions. So we will email you to say, please send us your SRQ questionnaire. Please send us examples of your English language, etc., etc. Okay, so money. These are the documents that are needed for your student visa. UKVI, UK Visa and Immigration, ask for you to make sure that you have sufficient funds to cover your living expenses. Now, if you are a sponsored or a scholarship student, great. Your fees, your details should be covered. Well, they will be covered because you are sponsored. So that could maybe just be your tuition fees, or it could be your living expenses as well. So if you're not quite sure what your sponsor covers, then you need to contact them to make sure you know, or contact me and I probably know the answer so I can check for you. But you must show, if you're not a sponsored student or a scholarship student, you must show sufficient funds to cover your living expenses, and that's what we call your maintenance expenses. So living expenses like the rent on your property. Make sure you have money to buy groceries and have food. Make sure you have money to pay for bills if you need to pay for bills, and also money to pay for any outstanding tuition fees. And we say outstanding because you need to pay your deposit as part of your conditions. So, and paying your deposit isn't an additional cost, it comes off your overall cost of your first year of study. So the calculations of that, the maintenance calculates at, and this is this is set by the UK Visa and Immigration, UKVI, and that is £1,203 per month for a maximum of 9 months. So your maintenance expenses, your living expenses, you need to be looking at least £9,207. And of course, that depends on your lifestyle. That depends on where you go grocery shopping. That depends on your social life. If you're going out every night and enjoying a beer or few, and you're going out to the nightclubs and all of those fun things to do, then potentially you're going to need a little bit more. But, there are opportunities to work part-time, which I can discuss with you as well. So this as well, this £1,023 per month isn't also living to the minimum. It is sufficient funds to keep you living having a comfortable experience when you are studying here. So that is what you need to have in your bank accounts as part of your visa requirements. So this is your bank statement needed for your UK visa application. So you have your maintenance fees, you have your outstanding fees, and this is what makes the amount required to make a valid Tier 4 application. So you need to be proving that you have these funds in your bank account as part of your visa application. So let's give a couple of examples here. So Paul, the student, he is coming to Portsmouth to do a 12-month master's postgraduate qualification. His tuition fee, for example, on his particular course for the 1 year is £17,200. He's already paid us his deposit, and for Paul, because the deposit is different for different students, the deposit for Paul is £3,500. He's got a discount because he is awarded a scholarship from the university. So his outstanding fee is £11,200. Add the maintenance expense. The total amount that Paul needs to have in his bank account is £20,407 as part of his visa application. And this needs to be in your bank account for 28 days, a solid period of 28 days, and it cannot be touched. So you need to prove to UKVI to get your visa that by coming to the UK, whether you're doing a 3-year bachelor course or a 12-month master's course, you need to prove that you have these funds. And this is an example for Paul, whoever Paul is, but it's just an example to show you of the costs and things that you need to consider. Case study 2. Chris is doing a 3-year undergraduate course. The tuition fee for Chris is £19,200 a year. He's already paid his deposit of £3,500. He also has got a discount with the scholarship of £2,500. The outstanding fee is therefore £13,200. So you add that together. Then you add in the maintenance, which stays the same, £9,207. So for Chris, his total amount required, so this is the amount that he needs to prove that's in his bank account for 28 days of a solid period of time, is £22,407. So these are the kind of calculations that you need to be doing. Now, this discount, this scholarship, Paul before the case study 1 and Chris on case study 2, example 2, they have both achieved a discount of £2,500. And this must be because this is a Vice Chancellor's scholarship, because it is a scholarship for students from a certain country, and it does cover a lot of countries. So please do take a look at our website for scholarships, because potentially your fees could automatically be reduced in your first year of study by £2,500. But either way, this gives you an idea of the money that you must have in your bank account for 28 days before you apply for your student visa. Because you need to show the evidence that you have the necessary funds by providing bank statements from your saving or current accounts, maybe from your loan letters. If you have a loan provider, you're getting out a student loan, we need an official letter from them to say that they are guaranteed to cover your expenses for the duration of your course. Or we need to have financial sponsor letters. Now, I know some students on this call, that's what we're waiting for. As of yesterday, I've got a certain group of students from the Dominican Republic who are having that sponsor, and that's what we're waiting for you guys. But all other students who aren't waiting for a sponsorship or scholarship letter, you need to have this bank statement. So it needs to be in a personal account, so not a business account. So if it's your parent, your uncle, a brother or sister, a family friend that has a business, maybe it's your business, the money needs to be in a personal account. Saving and current accounts are not permitted, so it needs to be in your personal account. This needs to come from your bank to say, the official documentation to say that yes, this student, insert person's name, has this amount of funds in their bank account. So it needs to be on letterhead paper. And if it can be printed, to be stamped and signed by somebody in authority at the bank. So it takes a bit of time. So these are the things that you can start to get organised in preparation for your visa. So don't go onto the UKVI website and start your student visa. But these kind of things are what you need to be thinking of now to make sure you have sufficient funds in your bank account. And then you can scan that letter and send it to us and add it to your applicant view. The funds can be in an account, though, from your parents or guardians, or a joint account with a sibling, a spouse, a relative, a partner, whoever. But again, it needs to be in the same surname as what you have. So maybe it's a step parent. Maybe it's in your stepmother's name, and they need to prove that they are your stepmother. So you need to have official documentation from them to say who they are. And if this is all a bit confusing and a bit overwhelming, maybe it's new information for you. Please don't panic. You know what date? It's the 20th of July. You still have time to get these things organized and in time to still start on time for the course. But I cannot stress to you enough. Please make sure that the funds in your bank account are in your name, in your personal account for 28 days. So if today, on the 20th of July, you have the full amount with the remainder of your tuition fees and you have your maintenance and living expenses, in a week's time, please don't go into that account and withdraw money to go on holiday or to pay for something, because that's when those funds need to start again. And that 28-day period starts from the beginning again. So please check. Keep everything safe in your current accounts, in your personal account for 28 days. Do not touch that money. I'm smiling because I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm repeating it to make sure people understand. So any questions about that, please put them in the Q&A and I will answer them at the end. So if the bank statement is in your parents' name, so this is emphasizing what I said before. So if it's in your parents' name, you need to have your original and translated birth certificate to prove that you are related. So this is the evidence I was talking about. So these are things, again, that you can start to get processed. So make sure that you find your birth certificate, and if not, get a new one and then pay to have it officially translated. You also need to have an authorized letter from your parents in English, and again, the original and the translated, confirming that they will be supporting you financially. But just to emphasize as well that all documents must be in English or a translation provided. Okay, so this slide here is providing more details. I'm kind of repeating myself, but hopefully this information is becoming across clear. So the money must have been in the bank account for at least 28 consecutive days before applying for your visa. So you might have the money today and it's been in your bank account for a week. You still need to wait until the 28th, until the 29th day, until you can apply for your student visa. So that's why you're in a strong position. By coming on this call today, you're getting this information. It's brilliant. You're getting this information. So you are preparing yourself. You have time. Don't panic about this. You have time to get this organized before you start the course, before you apply for your student visa. I recommend doing it soon because you still need to then wait for your student visa. You know, just because you've applied for it, that can still take some time, especially at this time of year when it's a busy period. So you have the qualifying period of 28 days. Let's say today you had the bank statement is issued. You need to use that within 30 days. So to explain that in a bit more detail. So let's say today, July the 20th, you have received from your bank statement to say, yes, this student has the correct amount of money in their bank account. You then have 30 days to apply for your student visa. If it's later than 30 days, you need to get a new letter from your bank to prove that to start the process again. So conditions and other documents that you need. You need to submit the qualifications detailed in your class offer letter, which you know about. You must also supply original documents with your visa application. So if your documents are not in English, again, you must have them translated before you can apply for your visa. You also, at the bottom here, you also need your TB certificate, which is your tuberculosis certificate, if appropriate, if that's required. Not all students are needed, but again, you can go onto our UK government website. So go into a search engine, something like Google, and type in gov.uk, and type in TB certificate, tuberculosis certificate, something like that. And then you also need any original receipts with your visa application as proof of payment. So when you get that email confirmation to confirm that you've paid your deposit or you've paid your fees in full, maybe, then you need to provide that as evidence, please, as part of your visa application. So keep all this documentation safe. Anything that you do, scan it, email it to yourself, and keep it in a file. Don't leave it in your inbox with hundreds of other emails. Keep it in a Portsmouth file in your Hotmail or your Gmail, whatever you have. So your TB test, you may not need one, like I said earlier, depending on where you've been living for the past 6 months. So you need to get this done before your visa application. And this is the website link. I'm sorry, I forgot that this was on there. So you might want to take a picture of the of this screen. But also I'm going to be sending you this recording of the presentation anyway, so you can look back on this. But do a good old-fashioned Google search about the gov.uk website for TB tests. You may also need an ATAS certificate. Don't worry about that if you're not sure you need one. Again, we as the university will contact you. It's only required for specific courses. So if you're applying for a postgrad qualification, and like I say, it's only for specific courses. So if you haven't heard from us telling you about this, don't worry. It's all okay, because we will let you know. So key dates. That's quite a heavy few slides. So I appreciate that's a lot of information for you to process and for you to learn about. So you can watch this back again. Like I say, this has been recorded, so I will email this to you. I will ask a colleague to email this to you, I should say. I'm on vacation now for the next 2 weeks, so I won't be doing it, but somebody else will. I will ask somebody from the global marketing team to send this to you. So look out for emails from the university with a copy of this recording. So let's have a moment. Any questions coming through, please do put them in the Q&A. And let's move on to these next few slides. How are we doing for time? We are good for time. Okay, great. So the academic year you're coming to is 2024-25. And the dates of the start date for your course may differ depending on your course. So you can check your specific course, your teaching, vacation dates with your course admin team or departments. In case you didn't know already, you will be getting your own personal tutor. Every student on the course, whichever course it is at the University of Portsmouth, is given a personal tutor. So things like vacation dates, teaching, specific course information, they will be your point of contact to tell. Now we have an International Orientation Week, and this is a really fun week. These are key dates that you need to be trying to get to into the UK if you can, because this is the fun thing. Before your lessons start, before your lectures and teaching starts, we have an orientation week, which is basically welcoming you as international students to the UK, the University of Portsmouth, and the city of Portsmouth as well. And there's lots of fun social activities to help you to settle in, to meet other students, to make friends. Even if you know some other students already at the university, get yourself out there, socialize, come along to these free events. And there's everything from cinema nights with free pizza. There are coffee and cake afternoons. There's speed friending. You might have heard of speed dating, but this is speed friending. There's also the karaoke nights, which I often get put down for to come and work at. I'm not sure why that is. Definitely not for my voice, but maybe it's because I'm enthusiastic and I get people going. But it's a lot of fun, actually. It's a lot of fun. So loads of different social activities for you to come along to. And I see them working. You know, I see students walk into those social activities looking a bit nervous, looking a bit hesitant, and they walk out at the end and they're swapping numbers, they're swapping social media platforms to follow each other, and I see people communicating and making friends. So don't lock yourself away in your rooms. You know, it is a big deal. You are moving a long way from home, and some of you are, a majority of you are coming on your own. So you're not going to be alone. Come along to these social activities and, you know, try and make some friends, speak to people and have some fun, because that's what the university experience is all about. During orientation week as well, there's also some serious stuff going on, like some welcome talks for bachelor students, some welcome talks for master's students. We'll also take you to the bank to set up your British, your UK bank, so we can help you set up your bank account. We will also give you campus tours so you can find your way around, and also city tours as well, so you can find out where the cinema is, you can find out where the nice restaurants are, you can find out where the good supermarkets that sell the international food, or the cheaper supermarket grocery shopping, all the things you need to know basically about the university and the city as well. So after all of that international orientation week, we then have, which you don't have to arrive, even if you arrive on the Thursday of that week, you can obviously still take part, but try and get here if you can for orientation week at some stage. If you're staying in student halls of residence, so the university accommodation with us at the university, the move-in weekend, when the accommodation opens, is the weekend just before orientation. So that's Saturday the 14th or Sunday the 15th of September. So you can move into your accommodation. But again, don't worry if you miss that weekend. You can still move into your accommodation on the Tuesday, the 17th, or Wednesday, the 18th, or whenever that week. But if you can get here for that weekend on the 14th or 15th, you're here ready a week before term starts, that the semester starts, and you can enjoy settling into university life. Then we also have the induction week. So after the orientation week is the induction week. And this is when it gets serious, and this is when your lessons will start. So your tutors will contact you to tell you where you need to come for your induction, to sign in for your course, and where your first lessons are going to be. That's when you're given your timetable as well. Okay, the final slide here to summarize, because I appreciate I've given you a lot of information here. So just to quickly summarize, your CAS will be sent to you, your CAS, your CAS Certificate of Acceptance of Study, will be sent to you once you accept your offer for your student view, when you've met all your conditions, when you've paid your deposit, and when you've given us copies of your passport. When we send you your CAS, please make sure that you check all the information carefully, because it's humans who are doing this, who are typing your CAS letters, because it's personalized to you. It's not an automated system. And sometimes humans make mistakes. So please check every detail. Check that your name is spelled correctly. Make sure the details of your passport number, your course, your nationality, all these things, make sure that every detail is correct. And any errors, any problems, please, as soon as possible, email that email address you can see there. And again, you might want to take a photo of this, of cascorrections@port.ac.uk. I've told you about preparing for the proof of finance. This is what you can do now, preparing to get ready for those 28 days, 28 consecutive days with the correct amount of money in your bank account. You need to provide us with all supporting documents, including bank statements, the originals in English and the official translation as well, and the original language. So I mentioned about that ATAS certificate, and we will let you know whether or not you need that for your course. About the TB test, the tuberculosis test, and the certification there as well. You will also need to pay for your immigration health surcharge. That's the IHS. That wasn't covered in the presentation, but it's important to know. The IHS, the Immigration Health Surcharge. This is for international students like yourselves. And it's around about £750-ish a year, which is, that's quite a lot of money when, you know, on top of everything else that I appreciate you're having to pay for. But this is an essential thing that you need to pay, because this is paying for your healthcare when you're in the UK. So you don't need to get health insurance like you might do if you were going to a US university. You don't need to get private healthcare. By paying the immigration health surcharge, you will then have free access to the National Health Service here in the UK. So if you need to go to see a doctor because you are unwell, you are sick, you can book an appointment, and as a student, you will get your medication for free. If, and hopefully this never happens, but if you have an accident and you need to go to hospital, you need to go to the accident and emergency department. That service, that treatment, that care that you are given, again, is free of charge because you've paid your immigration health surcharge and you have your number. Some students may, depending on what country you're from or depending on the details of your application, you may need to be asked to complete a credibility interview. And that's when you will have a Zoom call like this with a member of the team, and they will ask you some key questions just to check your credibility for the course. And we also need to know if your visa is refused, your original CAS number is then cancelled. This is what I was saying before. So you must request a new CAS statement before making a new visa application. And please communicate with us and send us your refusal notice. Okay, that's a lot of information there. Let's stop sharing. I can see some questions have come through. So now is your time to write down, please, any questions that you have. I'm just going to look at the numbers and to see who's in the room. I can see some students have raised their hand, but if you have a question, please do put that in the question and answers section. Thank you to those that had stuck with us. There's a good number here on the call today, so that's fantastic. Let's have a look at the questions. Right, this student has said, the orientation week starts on September the 16th. And this student, my accommodation only for September 21 till June, because it was not possible on the website to choose the dates of accommodation. Does it mean I should book a hotel or can change the dates of accommodation, and how? Interesting. I'm assuming that it must be private accommodation then, because our student accommodation, like I said earlier, is open on in our halls of residence, is open on the 14th and 15th. So yes, potentially, if you could get a hotel, yep, absolutely, you know, come and be a part of that. We will communicate with you all about the plan of activities. So you might want to look in advance to see the things that because even though they're free of charge, there's no cost, you still have to book your place on some sessions because there's only a certain capacity for certain sessions. So we will send you that timetable, that schedule, and we'll share that with you, but it's also going to be on our website as well. You know, try and see the key things that you want to look at, and then yes, potentially look, you know, come and stay in a hotel. But first of all, yes, contact your accommodation to see if you can move in earlier. But any problems with that, please do contact the global departments. One moment, I'm going to put in the chat an email address. So normally I would share my email address, but like I say, I'm on vacation now for the next 2 weeks. So I'm very sorry the timing of this. So any questions that you have about accommodation or anything else, please, hopefully that email has come up there for global at port, so port.ac.uk. You can forward your questions to that team and they will be able to forward it on to the accommodation department. So hopefully that's answered that question. This next question is, what is the difference between a saving and a personal account? Excuse me. Well, in your personal account, you will have quicker access to the funds that are required. A saving account, you might need to wait a day or two to transfer money from your saving into your account. So that's the best way I can describe it, really. This student says they're very excited about the possibility of living in the halls. Amazing. Yeah, it'd be great fun. I never did that at my university and I missed out, I think. So yes, sorry, I digress. Very excited about the possibility of living in the halls, but my parents have some concerns about safety and privacy. Of course, I understand. Could you tell me more about the security measures in place for student accommodation, particularly for women? Of course, I'd like to reassure them that the environment is safe and respects individual privacy. No problem. I don't know if you want to, I'm going to send you a recording of this, but maybe with your phone, maybe record the screen and you can listen to my answer. So just to recap, could I explain about the security at the student accommodation, particularly for women? So first of all, in the halls of residence, in the student accommodation, you will always get your own private bedroom. You don't share a bedroom like you might do in the US, for example, and other countries, but it is you get your own private bedroom. And the majority of our student accommodation has your own private bathroom as well. You'll see on our website the different sites of accommodation that you can look at. Some are a little bit more expensive because they have their own private, there's various reasons, but it could be because they have their own private bathroom. It's a small bathroom, but it's good enough for what you need, and it's your own space and your own privacy and security there. There is accommodation that's a little bit cheaper, where you might have to share, people in your flat, you might have to share 1 or 2 bathrooms. But if you're wanting that extra security and privacy, then yes, that is an option to have your own private bathroom that you have to look after and clean, but it is your own space. And then you have your own, then you share the kitchen, with your other housemates, the people that you're living with. But in your bedroom, you will have a lock on the inside and you will have a key to the front door of your bedroom. You'll have a key swab, like a digital key, to get into your apartment, into your flat. You will then have a key to access your own private key to access your own private bedroom. In the entrance to your student flat as well, you will see that there are members of staff during the day as a point of contact. So any questions, problems, issues, you can speak to them as well. And then during the night, there's always a security person on, like in a hotel. There's always somebody around. There's always somebody at the front door, or on the premises in the building to keep you safe and to make sure that nobody can just walk into the student accommodation. Students have to have a key, a key to access the building. And also there are cameras on the entrance and around the entrance area and around the elevators, the lifts. We call them lifts in the UK, but elevators, there are cameras in various points around the building as well. On that question though about safety, I'm sorry, I should also address particularly for women. So in your student halls, and you will be living as a female, you will be living with other male students as well. There'll be a mixture of male and female together. I believe that there are female only halls of residence, I think, but just check that with the accommodation team or email that global at that email address I put in the chat there, and just ask that question. They can find out for you. But on the conversation of safety, actually, my advice, I have a lot of students ask me, is Portsmouth a safe city? Is it safe to walk around? Is it safe for females? Is it safe for males? Everybody needs to feel safe in their environment. My advice is always to use your common sense, to be sensible, to think about it. I personally, I don't, in any city, my home city isn't Portsmouth. My home city is Birmingham, 3 hours north in the middle of the UK. But whether I go back to my home city where I grew up as a child, or I'm living in Portsmouth like I have done for the past 8 years, I always, whatever city I go on vacation next week. I will be thinking about this going on vacation. I always think safety in numbers. Stay with your friends. If you've been out for dinner or you've been out to the nightclubs, make sure you've thought about how you're going to get home to your accommodation safely. Walk home with your friends. Share a taxi. Taxis are actually quite cheap. The cost is not too expensive here in Portsmouth. So you can get an Uber easily or get a local taxi company as well. But stay together with your friends or communicate with your friends. Tell them that you are just leaving the bar, you're just leaving university, because in the UK, in the winter months, it gets dark quite quickly. Sort of 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's not dark, but the night is coming closer. So, think about how you're going to get home. There's a free university bus as well that takes you around the city. I get that as a member of staff, and that's how I get into work. So you can use the free university bus with your student identification card to get you from different points. So it's just being sensible and thinking about it and having a plan. Generally, Portsmouth is a safe city. I feel safe walking around during the day. I go running on my own. I cycle, all these things. So, generally speaking, it is a safe city, but, at night, I just don't, why would I risk it? And I wouldn't do that in any city, whether I'm in Birmingham, Portsmouth, London, wherever. Okay. Next question. What is an SRQ? That is the Student Route Questionnaire. So that will be one of your conditions that you have to meet, and we will email you or tell you about that in your CAS Shield that you need to complete that. When is the deadline to pay the deposit? There are various deadlines, and you will have been communicated about that. Depending on your course, depending on your nationality, please do check that and email that global@port.ac.uk. Some deadlines are already starting now, but there are various stages of the deadline process. This is a great question. One I touched on earlier, I mentioned earlier, so thank you for reminding me. What part-time jobs are available for students? There's a lot of part-time work available for students. Excuse me one moment. I'm just going to close my window because I can hear that dog barking. It's not my dog. One moment. I'm sorry. I didn't want to disturb you hearing what I'm saying. So part-time jobs, are they available for students? Yes, they are. The city of Portsmouth, we are the only university in Portsmouth. So you're not competing against other universities and other students for jobs. And there's lots of part-time work available. Students work in hospitality, in restaurants, hotels. They work in retail, so shops, department stores. They work in supermarkets, nightclubs, bars, cafes. Lots of part-time work available. There's also part-time work on campus. So in the sports hall, in the sports centre, there is you can work in the library. You can work in other cafes, restaurants on campus as well. There's also the Student Ambassador Scheme. And this is something I really encourage you to get involved with because we need more students to do this, hence why there's not one on this call today, because the Student Ambassador Scheme, you would have to apply for the job and be interviewed, but it's a fantastic opportunity because you could work for the university and be one of our ambassadors. So you could help us, you could work on a call like this with me today and give your student answers and your student perspective. We might need you to do campus tours in orientation week when you're helping make the welcome bags and you're there speaking to new students. We'll need you to help us with that. You might have to get up and sing karaoke as a student ambassador, but we need you to help us run events, sometimes do administration in the office, make calls to students, all these kind of things. And we can also write you a reference for your future job as well, for a future job once you have graduated. But as an international student, you can only work on your student visa up to 20 hours per week. You can't work more than 20 hours because that's a breach of your student visa contract. This next question, I'm a bit confused about the tuition fee payment process. I understand that I paid a deposit and received a scholarship. Great, congratulations. They mentioned I'd need to pay half the tuition fee during registration. Since I've already made a deposit and received a scholarship, does this mean I've essentially already paid a portion of my tuition? I want to make sure I understand the payment breakdown correctly. Yes, and I completely understand because it is a little bit confusing at times. So, the first question that you asked there, because you've already you've paid your deposit and you've received a scholarship, but I'm interested to know what scholarship you've received. Is it a scholarship like what we've offered you? That's a contribution towards your fees, or is it a full scholarship? But we've asked you to pay, I think it must be a contribution towards the fees because we've asked you to pay half the tuition fee during registration. That's right. So to answer your first question, since you've already paid your deposit and received a scholarship, does this mean you've essentially paid a portion of your tuition? Yes, it does. Like I said earlier, your deposit and that scholarship will be taken off your overall fee. Do you remember that? I'm not sure what stage you joined the call, but hopefully you saw the 2 case studies I gave, and it gave you a breakdown of the tuition fees were 17,000, I think, for one example. The student had paid 3,500 for their deposit. They had got a scholarship from the university of 2,500, so that gives a lower amount to then pay off. But yes, lots of courses will need you to pay your, the half of your tuition fees during registration. So if you've already paid 3,500 and you've got 2,500 scholarship, that is 6,000 pounds you paid off your tuition fee. So let's say your tuition fees are 20,000. If you've already paid 6,000 from your deposit and you've got a scholarship, that means that your fees are I can't do the maths, my brain, £14,000 remaining. Therefore, you need to pay £4,000 on registration because that's 50% of your fees. I hope I haven't confused it more. Please email, hopefully I haven't, please email that global@port.ac.uk and if you need further clarification on that. I can see we've got 2 more questions come through, but this call is scheduled for another 30 minutes. So if you do have questions, please do go ahead and keep asking them. I'm happy to stay and keep answering. But these next 2 questions, so this next one, if I ask for my visa to be sent to the university, what do I need to say at the airport when I arrive? Without it, I would need a flight out of the country within 6 months. You need to apply for your student visa in your home country. So you need to apply for your student visa in your home country, and you need to have it sent to your home country because you will need it when you get to the airport. It's as simple as that. So it needs to come to you at your home in your home country. This next question, my program is 4 years. The 3rd year is study abroad. Wow, how exciting. And I did not see an option for only 3 years. Does it mean that I have to study for 4 years? My program is BA International Relations with Languages. Wow, what a course. I've read about that one and it sounds amazing. How exciting. I'm really excited for you. Yes, when I say 3 years, it's because that's 3 years of study. It's going to be at least 3 years of study. Yours is a 4-year course because you have the fantastic opportunity to get 1 year of studying abroad as part of your course. So that's the only option for your course, I believe. And why wouldn't you want to do that anyway? It's a fantastic opportunity. It's really going to develop you as an individual, but also it looks great on your future resume, your future job application to say you have a qualification and you studied abroad and you had all these experiences and you learned a different culture and all these kind of things. So, and you've obviously developed your language as well when you've been overseas. So just to make sure I've answered your question, so yes, it does mean to say that you have to, well, you won't study for 4 years, you still study for 3. No, you will study for 4 years, yes, because you do the study abroad program. So yes, hopefully that's answered that. This question is, could you please tell me about airport pickup and how to register for it? Yes, absolutely. And this is something I didn't cover it today because I will cover it in the pre-departure webinar. But great question. And like I say, I'm happy to answer anything now. So the airport pickups, we do offer an airport pickup service. And this service is picking you up from London Heathrow Airport only. Excuse me. So that service at the moment is scheduled for Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th of September. We are looking, as of yesterday, because the demand is there, we are looking to put on a few more services throughout the orientation week because we appreciate that lots of students will want to book flights during the week because they are a bit cheaper to book than the weekend. So don't book your flight until you've got your visa. But then once you have booked your flight, you might want to look at coming during the week. So we'll get the airport pickup. But basically, this is a service that runs from London Heathrow only. And it's because London Heathrow is a little bit tricky to get to by train. No, that's a lie. From London Heathrow to Portsmouth, it's a bit difficult by train. You can do it, but it's just it's a bit difficult because you would have to get the London Underground, the tube, the London Underground train that goes from London Heathrow into central London, so coming into London Waterloo, and then you would have to then get the train from London Waterloo to Portsmouth and Southsea train station. So, but London Gatwick is easier. So you can still fly into London Gatwick Airport, of course. It's a very good airport, and lots of international flights fly in and out of there every day. But what you can do from London Gatwick is get on the train that goes from direct from the train station into Portsmouth and Southsea train station. So very easy with your luggage. You know, with heavy luggage, going on the London Underground, no way. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to do it because you're tired, you're exhausted, you're probably a bit stressed. You maybe haven't slept on your long flights, and you're just it's a lot of effort. And some platforms as part of the London Underground don't have elevators or lifts. So you've got to carry your heavy bag up loads of stairs, and that's a lot of hard work. So register for the pre-departure for the airport pickup service. There are 2 different times that we will allocate to you. So when you book your place, the place on the coach, on the bus, is £25. But we will meet you at London Heathrow Airport, and we will let you know which terminal. So say if you come into Terminal 2, we might be waiting at Terminal 4, so you have to find your way to us. You need to, when you book your place on the coach, on the bus, we will then tell you, because we know what flight number you're coming in on, you'll tell us, and we know what time your flight is. So we will then say, okay, you need to get on the bus at either 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. in the evening. And we will be there with signs above our heads and T-shirts and jumpers saying University of Portsmouth. I'm going to be there on the Sunday the 15th at some point. And you know, other members of staff from the university and student ambassadors as well. They will be there to greet you. We'll have your name on a list, and then we'll help you with your bags, and we'll literally take you from the terminal at Heathrow, and we'll take you to the door of your student accommodation. So it's a door-to-door service. So, and it's £25 is a really good price as well. So that's what I recommend doing. But again, we will notify you of that, and details are also on our website. The next question, I saw on the university's website that there is a language program. What is it like? There are various different language programs. So like the previous student, that's part of their degree as an actual language qualification. But even if you're doing a sport course, for example, or an English literature course, you can still pick up free of charge the basic skills of another language. So a lot of our language courses as a qualification, like the international relations with languages, like that student mentioned earlier, are brilliant. Really well set up, really good theory learning, but practical learning as well. Some amazing staff that are so well travelled and experienced and speak several languages themselves. So you're really going to be taught by the professionals, the experts. But then the short courses, the shorter courses, even if you've never spoken Chinese Mandarin, for example, but you think actually you'd like to learn something, why not? You can go and do the basics. Some of my two Dominican Republic students I have on campus at the moment, they've been learning French for free because they spoke a little. One of them spoke a little bit. One of them had never done it before, but they both went in at the same level, and they've really enjoyed it actually. So putting English people like me to shame because I don't speak any other language. You may need to help me when you arrive. You can teach me some basics. So yeah, so some really good opportunities to pick up. So as a basic level, the Chinese Mandarin, you can do Arabic, I think, French, Spanish, German, Italian. Can't think of any others. And also you can do the pre-sessional English as well. If your English is, you're a bit not as confident as you want to be, you can come and attend the pre-sessional English as well. Okay, this student is saying, if I'm a twin and the costs are high, is there any financial aid? So we don't do full scholarships, I'm afraid. Sadly, I wish we did. We don't do full scholarships here at the University of Portsmouth, but we do offer scholarships that contribute to your costs. So I mentioned about the Vice Chancellor's Scholarship. That's the £2,500 towards the first year of your study. There's also an academic scholarship, the Chancellor's Global Academic Scholarship. And that's one you have to apply for. The other one you don't have to apply for. If you automatically from that country, you will be given a place on that. You will get given that scholarship. This other one is £5,000, but this is one that you have to apply for. So that is the financial aid that we offer. That's the Global Academic Merit Scholarship, and that's one that we do ask that you do apply for. Those scholarships have been awarded to students already for this September. So if you're thinking about maybe January, then that could be an opportunity for you. But I believe that most of you are coming for this September on this call. If you are concerned, though, again, email your question, please, to that global@port.ac.uk email address, and somebody there should be able to advise you. So that's it for all the questions. Thank you for all those questions. That's wonderful. It's great that you've got lots of questions because it shows you're thinking and responding to things I've said. So I'll just hold back. Oh, here we go. There's one more come through. Great. Yeah, please do keep them coming through if you have them. Are there any documents that we have submitted virtually for our application and we need to have in hand when we arrive to Portsmouth? So you'll need to have your student visa, obviously, but that will be inside your passport anyway. So always keep that in your hand luggage. Don't put that in your main luggage. And we'll go through all of that. So I don't think there is. I don't think there's. I mean, somebody asked me. I did another webinar for my African students just on Thursday, and somebody asked me, can they bring medication into the UK? And I said, yes, of course. You can bring your medication. Maybe you need to take, obviously you can bring in regular paracetamol for a headache or something like that. But if maybe you have a particular condition and you need to take your medication, again, put that in your hand luggage, but also get things like a medical letter, just to confirm, a professional clinic practitioner to say that, yes, you need to take this medication for these reasons. So yes, bring that kind of letter and documentation with you. But we'll go through all those finer details at the pre-departure webinar later on in August. Okay, I hope that's answered your question. Should we bring our official diploma and transcript documents, even though we already submitted them online? No, there's no need to, because you have submitted them online. We would have checked those to make sure that they are sincere documents, official documentation. The team, I see them all looking at the screens and looking at the official, because we're comparing the official qualifications against the real examples that we have. So yes, there's no need to bring those documents because you've submitted them online. Do I have to pay my deposit to submit the student route eligibility? They're all conditions that you need to meet. All students need to do that student route eligibility questionnaire, and also you need to pay your deposit. So I don't think it matters what order you do that in, but you need to, they're your conditions. So yes, you need to meet both of those conditions. Okay. Well then, if nobody else has any questions, I'd like to thank you all so much for staying on the call. I can see that the numbers have stayed the same throughout the whole session, which is wonderful. So hopefully I've done a good job there and given you some good information. I hope that's been useful. I'm sorry that I'm now on vacation, but I will put in the chat, actually, my email address, because I return to work on Monday, the 5th of August. So I'm putting my email address in there. So any questions after that, after the 5th of August, then I'm happy to answer them. Remind me that you saw me today on the call and I'll happily answer any questions. But if it is over the next 2 weeks, you can look at the previous message I sent about 30 minutes ago for global@port.ac.uk. Oh, I can see a question that's come through. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Someone just saying, thanks very much. Enjoy your holiday. Thank you. I will. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Okay, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you again for your time. It means a lot to have you here, and I'm very excited to meet you in person in a few weeks' time. It'll soon be here. So get those bank statements in order. Get those finances in order. And if you see me on campus, make sure you say hello. And I'm very excited for the new start of the semester. It's always a great time of year. So thank you again. Thank you for your nice comments I can see coming through, and I wish you good luck with everything and see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.